Hello everyone. Recently, Fraser Von Ketteringham uploaded a couple of videos to his channel. One was a showcase of his Norman army, superb army that he's got, and the other was a contribution to the I Am a Wargamer thread that's going around the YouTube channel at the moment. And one of the things he mentioned on it was that he thought it would be a good idea if people uploaded showcases of their own armies. I can't match the standard of his Norman army, but I thought I'd show you my Wars of the Roses figures, which haven't seen the light of day for a couple of years, so I thought I'd get them out and dust them off and have a look at them. I'll zoom in a little bit at the moment. I realise they're all a little bit cluttered on the table there. But essentially, they're a mix of ranges, partly Old Glory, partly Front Rank, with a few other bits and pieces thrown in. The vast majority I painted myself. There are a couple of items that I purchased on eBay, simply because I needed things in a hurry for a game I was putting on at my local club. So these couple of figures here and the artillery piece at the back there, I didn't paint. I purchased those off of eBay, but the rest of it is my own work. And when I started this army a long time ago, I had them all based up for Armati. Probably the older viewers amongst you will remember those rules. Basically, the basing for those that set of rules is the DBX standard. So they're on 60mm frontages. One of the things I do find about 25 and 28mm figures on that size base is that particularly in this era, you do have a lot of figures that are wielding two-handed weapons, such as bills or two-handed swords, pikes, that kind of thing. And they look too crowded to me on DBX size bases. There's no room for them to wield their weapons, to swing an axe without it looking as though they're going to hit the person standing next to them. So I was never terribly happy with that basing system, but I was quite happy with the Armati set of rules. But then I got heavily into Saga, which is a game primarily or originally set in the Dark Ages, and in one of the supplements for that, I think it's Raven's Shadow, there's a scenario at the back called Wooden Oaths, which is a 4-player game where you begin by playing in teams, 2 a side, but you can switch allegiances as the game goes on. And it struck up, I had several really enjoyable games of that using Dark Age figures, and it struck me that it would make a really good scenario for the Wars of the Roses. So I devised my own version of the game Saga, and rebased all these figures onto individual bases, simply so that I could try out my own rules, and then that allowed me to play my own version of this scenario, Wooden Oaths, and it went down a storm at my local club. Everybody really enjoyed it. But unfortunately I don't go to the club any longer. So Saga is an impossible game to play on your own, really, because of the way you have to plan your battle board and place dice down on it and so on. So I've more or less given up on that, my own rules, but at roughly, well, sort of shortly after that, Lion Rampant came out, and the basing for Lion Rampant is on individual bases, so I can use the figures either for my own version of Saga or for lying rampant. And also I've purchased a lot of movement trays, so I have played games of sword and spear, which is another ancient and medieval set of wargame rules that I really, really like. And I've played some really good games with these figures put on movement trays and moved in units again. But I'm never going to go back to rebasing them for, I don't know, rules like Fog or Armati, that kind of thing. I just don't think they look too crowded together, basically. Right, so I'll take the camera a little bit closer and show you them in close up so you can see what I've got. Right, so trying to give you a bit of a close up. I have to confess straight away, I've tried doing this once already, and I was hand holding the camera, and when I played it back, I just had vertigo. Really, just watching it was making my head dizzy. So I've put the camera on a stand, and I think what I'll do is sort of peel away each rank and show you the rank behind as I go, and hopefully keep the camera a bit steadier that way. But I'll have to edit the film, so you might notice a few jumps in the film as I remove figures. So this is the Lancastrian force, and right at the front you can see 8 crossbowmen. They are in the red and yellow livery of the Earls of Devon, the Courtenay family. Just off to the side here is a chap who I presume is, I've put him in the livery of the Devon family, so you can presume that he is the Earl of Devon himself. It's red and yellow with a white boar, and that's my attempt at a boar. I always find painting heraldry difficult anyway, but on a wrinkled surface, no chance, but that's the best I could do. Guy behind him is an Old Glory figure. This chap is front rank. The guy behind him is Old Glory. I forget whose livery that is. I copied it from a heraldry book. And at the other end of the other corner here is an Old Glory figure, female figure on a horse, which I used to represent Margaret of Anjou. Took her from a sort of vignette that I'll show you at the back in a moment. Right, the next rank is a row of archers. These figures are all Old Glory, mainly painted in the same red and yellow livery. Some of it are just plain clothes, so you could use them for either side. And next up are billmen. Some of these are front rank and some are Old Glory, so you can get a feel for difference in proportions of the two. This figure here is front rank. This one is Old Glory. You can see the Old Glory are slightly shorter. That's Old Glory as well, but not too drastic the difference. So unless you get close up, you can't really make out that they're different manufacturer. So the liveries on these, some of the billmen I've painted in the livery of Edward, Prince of Wales, which is a black and red with a white ostrich plume. And the Prince of Wales died quite young. Can't remember which battle, I think it was Tewkesbury. ending really Margaret of Anjou's ambitions for her dynasty. So right back to there are Billman. There's a couple of figures with banners that are Essex. This is the Percy family, and this is the Earls of Devon again, the White Boar. These obviously hand-painted banners because they're metal, they come moulded to the figure. And then off to the side here are all the men-at-arms, mainly either in blue and white, which was a sort of typical Lancastrian colour, or in the red and yellow of the Courtenay family again. And right at the rear there's a group of mounted men-at-arms. These are all Old Glory figures. I quite like these actually, they're particularly this character. They're quite nice. And then beside them is the artillery piece that I purchased, so bought that on eBay pre-painted. And then the Smods and Sods, various casualty figures, and in the rear there's a sort of vignette from Old Glory, an execution scene, and that came as well with a few mounted figures that some of which you've already seen. The figure I used for Margaret of Anjou and one of the command figures that I use, pinched from that vignette. So they're the Lancastrians. And next up we have the Yorkists. So a couple of command figures. This is Old Glory, he's from that execution scene as well. This chap is front rank. I think strictly speaking both these guys, I can't remember whose livery that is, but I think that's a Lancastrian livery, but it's fairly standard kind of pattern, so they do as Yorkist leaders. And then I've got another pre-painted thing that I got from eBay here representing Warwick. Not brilliant painting, but I needed him in a hurry. He comes with a kind of horse holder as well. I think I've actually got an unpainted version of this. I think these are front rank figures. I've got an unpainted, I've got, as with all my armies, I've got a mountain of unpainted lead as well. And then behind them is a row of archers, and these figures are all from front rank. Either plain clothing, or I've given them the sort of blue and mulberry colours of Edward IV, or red jackets. There's a couple more over here. So the red is Warwick's colour, red with a white ragged staff. And I really like front rank figures as well. I think they're exceptional castings and really nice poses on them. Behind them there are two groups of handgunners. The ones in the front have got the blue and mulberry colours of Edward IV again. And again these are front rank figures. And then behind them, same figures just painted in red to represent Warwick's livery, but the same handgunners, front rank again. Beside them are a whole group of billmen, and these are a mix of front rank and Old Glory. Give you an impression of the difference in size again. Old Glory, front rank. Sorry if there's a lot of background noise. I think one of my neighbours must be doing some work in the garden. Okay, and then behind them. Okay, so here you see two groups of front rank men-at-arms. These figures at the front are all just plain armour, so you could use them for either side. So I could effectively field quite a large Lancastrian army, but as I wanted to make up a Yorkist army as well for this game, I threw them all into the Yorkist box. But the ones at the back are in Warwick's livery, so because it was possible to paint a larger badge on their chests, I've actually had a go at painting the ragged staff on these guys. So they are the same figures, only in the colours of Warwick. And also you probably noticed, well, you would have noticed that I've painted the armour quite dark. That's because I really wanted to kind of represent almost a sort of mass-produced type of armour that was just churned out, rather than something that's very highly polished. And I've always had the feel that, I don't know why, that the armour in the Wars of the Roses would have been that kind of darker colouring. Don't know where I got the impression from, but it gives it a kind of darker mood really than all the nicely, knights in shining armour kind of stuff. And then beside them, finally, got some more mounted men-at-arms, again exactly the same as you saw on the Lancastrian side, some more Old Glory. Again, those two poses there I really like, sort of shouting commands or whatever they're doing. I think they're really nice figures. And that's it. That's all my Lancastrian and Yorkist figures for the Wars of the Roses. Just thought I'd put that out there at Von Casteringham's suggestion. Hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.